Hello everybody, how are you guys doing out there today? Today I'm back on camera with my face on the camera because I have an important topic to talk about. One that's actually been on my mind as a collector, and one I just been really sitting back watching the scene and just looking at all the commentary, sometimes laughing, sometimes wondering what the hell are people talking about, thinking, or doing. And today's episode is about G.I. Joe versus Valaverse. War is always good for business. And I just want to give my insight on it because truly and honestly, there's really not a war going on. It's just business. And that's what this episode is about. The G.I. Joe versus Valaverse fan war, which is business. I'm going to warn you, maybe sometimes my language on here might be a little vulgar, but this is a adult collector show, so I'm going to talk like an adult from time to time. It won't be nothing crazy, but hey, it might be a few F-bombs, a few things like that fly off on this episode. We'll start first. I got 10 case in points here, and we're going to count them down like in Deadpool Part 1. And we're going to start at the top. And we got the G.I. Joe fans, and we got Valaverse fans. Which Valaverse is representing Action Force in this whole war. That's all really Valaverse has right now. It is Action Force. So it's a G.I. Joe Action Force thing, which most of us in America never knew what the fuck Action Force was. I honestly, I don't know. If you ever would have brought something like that to me, I'd be like, what is this knockoff G.I. Joe shit here? So what I did find out is across the world, everybody was Action Force. We were just G.I. Joe. G.I. coming from an American nickname for a soldier. So it had to do a little bit with ignorance, but hey, sometimes you don't know. But I will say this, they are both one and the same. So we're going to start with G.I. Joe. What attracts people to G.I. Joe in America? Nostalgia. And that is the key word. I don't give a rat's ass if G.I. Joe made baby dolls. If male guys were into them, it would have been this nostalgia. It was going to beat out Action Force all day, every day. And with nostalgia, with G.I. Joe, either you were brought into the line through the toys, which I was a young kid when G.I. Joe first hit. Matter of fact, when G.I. Joe first came out, I was just being born, 1983. So my era of G.I. Joe is really the V2 era. Like, I remember Snake Eyes, I remember all those guys, but what I'm more attracted to is the V2 era, around Ninja Force time. That's probably V3, who knows? But I did not come in at the beginning, but I did know who the concrete characters were. Because it ran so strong. G.I. Joe almost has like 2 generations up under them. Well, they have several generations, but coming up in that direct era when you're dealing with the Aura cartoon, a real American hero cartoon. And through that nostalgia, like I said, cartoons, comics, and toys. Little too young to read the comics. I didn't even know G.I. Joe was a real comic until later on in life. And of course, the cartoon. And those are 3 major factions. Those were the 3 machines that really boomed toys in the 80s by Hasbro hooking up with Marvel. And hey, let's do a Transformer comic book for me. That'll get the kids to read. Or that was the whole inception of the first Secret Wars, was to sell toys, man. You know what I'm saying? And Secret Wars is an iconic subtitle within Marvel. It's lasted decades, so there was a new Secret Wars, which I never even read. I read the original one, which was dope. So it's gonna be hard to beat nostalgia. When you see this here, let me get that glare out of there. Hope it's not too bad of a glare yet. Let me back up. When you see this here, when you see that explosion going around Grunt, you already know what time it is. When you see that red, white, and blue with that G.I.JOE going across, you already know what time it is. You're gonna come out your money for that. I don't give a damn. That's why you have 4-inch collectors and you have O-ring collectors. Because out of the most, what we like out of this toy, whether it's articulated or has an O-ring, It's this package. And that's half the battle. I wouldn't even say that's the most of it. That's half the battle. Half the battle is the toy. Half the battle is the package. It brings you back to a time and place. It brings you back to just running around as a kid when everybody was outside on their mongoose or their BMX bike. And you go to one of your partner's houses and he has a bunch of G.I. Joes and you steal them. Or whatever you did or do, you know, but this brings you back to a time, that packaging, that size of that packaging. Now they got the new retro line coming out that's a little bit bigger packaging, but this size right here, this 3 3/4, 4-inch size, brings you back to a place. These O-rings, when guys see these, this right here was a mini war. Articulation versus O-rings. I mean, this G.I. Joe splits off into different wars within itself, and I seen another podcast where a guy said that G.I. Joe had so many factions, but it's so big time that it has to have factions to it. It has to be separated in fractions because now it's just not a thing that, okay, it's been out for 10 years. You're talking about decades, almost in another 10 or 15 years, a half a century. A man has become from a baby to an old man of G.I. Joe. The aura years, not even the big dolls that came out in the 70s and 60s. All right, so that's the G.I. Joe side. Now you have Action Force fans. Either you're from overseas, because like I said here, Action Force didn't mean nothing. It was knockoff. I don't care if you've seen G.I. Joe on the cover. They said that's knockoff G.I. Joe. Or you're just supporters of a better toy line, which is totally understandable. Do I, me personally being a G.I. Joe guy, do I plan on really getting into the backdrop of Action Force? Who knows? I will mostly say no. But I do read comic books. Later in my later years, I've just been buying. I haven't even had a chance to read a lot yet, but I every now and then I'll pick out some. So who knows? I might pick up some Action Force comics to get their backstory. The whole biggest thing is that's something I have to go into. I don't already have a history with it. So, you know, there's a disconnect there. What I do like about Action Force and Valaverse is G.I. Joe's a good toy. They're trying to make a better toy than that. And they seriously are trying to do it. They're not just feeding you a line of shit here. They're actually trying to make a good toy. And I have this Condor and he is badass. You understand me? This is a dope action figure right here. He's a great accessory to G.I. Joe. Robocalls. She's gonna tell them to go fuck themselves. So that's going into our next topic with the Action Force. So either you're from overseas, you're a toy action figure collector, like my man from Analog Toys. You know, he seems to be bent on Action Force because that's what he grew up on, and he has that nostalgia pull to it, which is dope. But if you're somebody like me who have no connection to Action Force, that name, because you have a connection to it, because like I said, G.I. Joe just repackaged that and branded and sent it overseas, over in Europe. But a big name will draw you to him, and that's when the Sergeant Slaughter figure comes in, and it tips the scale for G.I. Joe collectors like me. And it definitely tipped the scale when they brought out this V2 that's coming out, because that's the Sergeant Slaughter I'm used to. I never really even seen him in that green jacket like on G.I. Joe, but like I said, Action Force and Valaverse, they're creating a new wave, so I don't know if that's a new look for him, but what I'm used to seeing, BDU pants, fatigues, tank top, that's it, and that big brim hat. And that's what this second one is. So it knows a way to pull you in. And if that figure is like this Condor, then I can't wait. I can't wait till it gets here. And that goes along with my next period. That's licensing defunct Joes, like the Valaverse Steel Brigade. That, I never knew anything about that G.I. Joe. Like I said, man, my biggest thing with G.I. Joe, I had my few Joes or whatever, my shoebox full of them. But as far as any send-offs, I don't think we ever got the Refrigerator Perry. I was too young for that. But, you know, to actually want to send off for that. But I never sent off for any Joes. So if anybody did that, that was a cool thing. But that was almost a perfect thing for Bobby Valor to do. Hey, I had this G.I. Joe, and he worked for Hasbro, so he was an inside man the whole time. You know, he has friends there, you know, and things of that nature. So it was a great thing to scoop up Slaughter, because Slaughter is the most beautiful thing ever. He never even started on G. He's a wrestler. He became popular in G.I. Joe and wrestling, which is awesome. But his name could be put out there, so you definitely can grab him because he's licensed into WWE and everything else. I don't know how they work that out. But there's other ones like, oh, they let that slide because that was some shit from eons ago just to get motherfuckers to keep spending money. You know what I'm saying? So he scooped that up, and them not knowing that G.I. Joe had a feeling with a lot of kids, man. So it was an awesome thing, man. But like I said, Action Force is still working off G.I. Joe. It's still complimenting off of G.I. Joe. Now this is a bad thing. This just listen to me, because I'm really not taking sides. What's fair was fair. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give a fair evaluation from my side, me from the outside looking in. They're still playing off of them, okay? With Sergeant Slaughter, you got the Steel Brigade. Hell, I picked up, I got some Steel Brigade on pre-order. That Night Op shit, that shit look like that black and green ripcord. That shit look dope. Like I said, this Condor, they sold me on this. Bobby Valley, you sold me on this, baby. Thank you. So they're playing off that, just complimenting. So, next point. So goes G.I. Joe. So goes Valaverse. Hey, but hold up now. G.I. Joe sees Action Force and Valaverse getting busy. They see his factory sold out. They see the online shit like I'm doing right now. Saying how good of a figure this is, despite the little mishaps that's going on with the broken limbs and shit. Motherfuckers need to heat their shit up. But they're playing off each other. So goes Valaverse, so goes G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, Valaverse. They're trying to comp each other. It's like the finals. Like you beat out everybody else. Here's the NBA finals and shit. You got two of the best of the best. So everybody's giving their all here, which is a great thing for both of them. Because you ain't doing nothing but pleasing the crowd. We cheering, going for it. Just like a game. And so goes the customers, fans, and us. And when it gets down to that, this is where the war thing pops off. I am not gonna say fanboys. That's a corny fucking word, yo. Like, goddamn. Like, come up with something else. Fanboy. I wish somebody would call me a fanboy. I'm a man. But that's when it comes down to the fans, the customers, and that's when the war starts. Ching ching, ching ching, ching ching, ching ching, ching ching, ching ching, ching ching. The register is going. And that's when you know two lines are doing great. That's when you know two companies are doing business. Because they're trying to put out a premium product and they're trying to trump the other one. And at the same time, they're not mad at each other. They're not arguing with each other. They're doing business, man. You think they don't see each other out there? You think Bobby Valley doesn't have friends inside of Hasbro? You think he still doesn't like to go out and buy Marvel Legends and things that what he likes? I mean, this is crazy. This is big time business right here, in the American way. And that just came to my next bulletin, what I was going to go over. Two high quality figures, both putting out premium products. Now you can get mad at G.I. Joe just for the logistics part, but hell, you could have got mad at him too. I didn't even know anything about this shit, man, until this past summer. But apparently, people were waiting 2 years for this figure. Hasbro couldn't do nothing about that. You think they can get that fucking figure in your hand? They would get it in your hand so they can get your money? They got product to sell, Bo. For real. Same thing with this man right here. Guess what? I had some pre-orders on Big Bad Toy Store of like 10 of these things. And I chopped them all out. I'm tired of waiting on them. Let me just go, because I do purging. I get crazy on Big Bad Toy Store. I pre-order. Then I have to chop it down a little bit. For the most part, I get my pre-orders. But sometimes I get out of control. And that's what happened. It's like, I don't know nothing about this, man. Let me see some feedback. And when they came in this past December, I had seen enough. Got this Condor here right before the website sold out, and I'm glad I did. Because now it's giving me clarity on what's going on here. Corporations are not at war. Adult collectors are. And that's basically what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure Bobby Valley has had a beer with one of the guys. Even if he don't drink, they sat down one of the guys he used to work with and be like, just sitting back laughing like, damn, man, my warehouse sold out. Which, man, I'm not here complaining about corporation or other people's business, man. Get your money. Because if I was in it, I would do the same thing. But But he sat back and laughed, man, like, man, they're really at war. And I don't know if people this is just what I see. I see a lot of grown men crying. I see a lot of people back and forth. And I'm gonna let you know how the internet ain't shit. People love that, man. Just to go off subject, there's a show on YouTube, a guy he has called Beyond the Fame. Look like he's got about 38 episodes. I got 38 episodes, but he has a lot more hits and views than I do. He has different things about different celebrities who have died. And out these 30 episodes, half of them be on like some street shit, like, you know, and rapper type shit, and things of that nature. And anytime you see those episodes, especially like some real straight thugs, gangbangers, those episodes at 80, 90, 100,000 views. Then you got a nice little episode about Marvin Gaye, and that got like 4,000. That shows you the internet ain't shit. They love the drama. And so people are eating and feeding that, which I'm not anybody who's talking about this, you have a right to say what side you are. I just be sitting back, I either laugh, I'll be like, yo, these motherfuckers is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's either or. It's there for my entertainment to a certain degree too. But it's all adults. And what adults need to understand is, even though we're dealing with toys, anytime you deal with a toy and you got adults involved, what does an adult do? What a responsible adult do? He handles his business and he's about his money to a certain grade. Just like this G.I.JOE Sky Striker thing that just passed, and people going back and forth about that. And I told you I don't scout, you know. If I did, I would tell you I wouldn't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's not my thing. But I told her, I said, on that third Sky Striker, I'm gonna take that and sell it. I'm gonna put a little tax on it if the market's there for it. If not, fuck it, I'll keep it. You know what I'm saying? And if not, I'll sit it out there for the same price I got it for. I don't know. I'm looking at how the game. But guess what? I'm an adult and I handle my business. And anytime you deal with adults, you're gonna be dealing with some money, shape, form, and fashion. We're not 10, 11 with our mothers taking care of us here. You know, so we're moving in different ways, and that's gonna involve these toys. Even though they're made to be played with, they're really not. There's something else. These are our baseball cards. The kids who grew up in the 90s and 80s, action figures to a certain degree are our baseball cards. People still collect baseball cards, but shit, I don't. You know what I'm saying? So I'll leave it at that. So getting to this next point, just like life in war is good for business. Like I said earlier, cha-ching, cha-ching, those cash registers are going. And both of these guys, they're firing on all cylinders. The more you have a war with each other, the more money they make. You think they give a shit? They either gonna go better, or both of them gonna just fall off. With this guy here, he really can't, because he's just starting this company, so he has to keep pumping out premium product. Hasbro just reaping the benefits off nostalgia, and hey, they got some competition. But if there wasn't a fight, nobody would come see. Yep, just like in real life, any war. World War II, the Contras, back in the 80s, Reagan administration, a fucking war going on, being made, money being made, getting guns from Iran, getting it to the Contras, Contras sending dope up here, niggas in the street making money, people getting arrested, killed, you know, jails. You know, it was just a big cycle of money, and there's a shit mess going on below it, but it was making money, and war is good. Gotta look at it in the same sense. Maybe not that horrific and graphic, but it's in the same sense. It's in the same sense. And all I can really say is, at the end, you choose. You use your discretion. You can have one or the other, or you can have the both. And from my standpoint, I fuck with them both. I really do. I mean, I think they're two great action figure lines. I don't even have the energy to get into, well, this guy here, I don't know none of them motherfuckers. I don't know none of them. None of them. None of them. Don't care either. But what I do care about is they're putting out a premium quality product. And if I'm going to buy it, I'm definitely going to buy it. Will I always be a G.I. Joe guy? Hell yes. I grew up on that, boy. Action Force, he worked his way into my life. But as far as the main thing, as far as toy-wise, I think they're both great. I think they both balance each other out. I think they both complement each other. As one goes, the other goes. And money flows into both their pockets. And last but not least, Action Force and G.I. Joe is one and the same. Bobby Valor is not at war with Hasbro. Hasbro is definitely not at war with him. You should be at war with yourself or other people on the internet. This is a great community. Let's all be nice to each other. If somebody is not feeling you, okay, but you don't run their household, so you have no right to really do that. And that's just really my insight on it, man. Both of these shits is bomb. If you could ever pick up that Condor, hell, pick up 2 of them. I just opened up my Duke. My Duke is bomb, yo. I love it. I love it. They all went great together. I look for more releases in the future. I wish Bobby Valor the most of luck. And I hope Hasbro keep pumping out good product and listening to the fans on far as the G.I. Joe line. But war is good for business. There is no war. The war is in between yourself. And I'm in this episode like I do every episode. When you walk out the door, make sure you're being a person of integrity. And until the next time, God bless.